Hey everyone, thanks for joining me today. My name is Sarah Hirtzel and I look forward to getting creative with you today. Today we'll be exploring the vibrant colors that we get from soft pastels. And it's a little messy, but it's also a little fun. And our design will be our bright summer fresh lemons. So it's going to be a really fun thing to do. I will guide you step by step so you can just follow along. Let's get started. So today we are going to be doing a wonderful soft chalk pastel. You can get soft pastel, chalk pastel, the same thing, of some really fun, bright lemons. This is one of my favorite designs, just simply taking some inspiration from fabrics or patterns or anything that's out there. Lemons are out there. This is a great time of year for it too. So this is our piece that we're going to be doing, just a really simple composition of a few lemons and with their leaves and some branches and a bright background. With this one, you can choose any background color you want. I will let you know that the paper that I use for this is just a construction paper. I chose the dark blue for it. I think it gives a really good background. You can choose any color you want because your goal is to cover the whole piece of paper. But as you can see here in some of the areas, that the base color will show through. You can certainly work on a white if you choose that, or really any color. You can even choose black if you want to. So this is our composition right here. I'll put it to the side in just a minute. Let me talk about our materials. Also, this is some inspiration here. I just found just some different patterns and some different renditions, and so I'm just inspired by some of the different patterns that I found out there. So that's my research. And so I came up with this really simple layout right here. It should not take you that long to do. The hardest part, or it's the longest part, is just filling in that background. So just do that at the very end. So our materials are our paper, and we're going to have some colors here. These are primarily the ones I use for lemons. Now you will have some shadow colors that you can use, the darker colors for that. Of course, use them sparingly, but you can see how they can come back and add some linear aspects to it. And then you can also experiment with maybe there's other colors that you want to throw in as well. But primarily these are the ones that I've been using. I also, this is actually my white. I'll use the white a lot, and I'll leave some open space where the highlight would be and fill it in with 100% white, or you can also just do it right over the yellow. So I'll show you how we're going to do that. And then when you're working with pastels, it is messy. It's going to get all over your hands. The dust goes everywhere. And you will be working on this, and as you go along, you're thinking that you're just it's just a hot mess. And there is a time that it actually is a hot mess. So you go back in as you finish an area, and then you go back and you what I call crisping up the lines. So, and if you still want an area to be not crisp, you can certainly do that. But I go back and forth because I'll work in one area, and it'll have fuzzy edges. I'll go crisp it up, and then another area I'll have to go back and do the same thing. But that is our process back and forth. So I went ahead and we have our design drawn here. I did it very lightly. So I don't use any pencil. This is just a light transfer of white. So just to indicate where we're going to draw. And then I use just any color. I'll just use a neutral color here where I'll go and I'll draw my design. So that's what we're going to do here is so you can see them. Again, it doesn't matter what color. So I'm just using something that we can see because when we go to our final color for all these things, we'll go completely over. We'll go right on top of this. It's not intended to show through, at least in this case. So these are our lemon shapes. You can make them kind of fat little Meyer lemons or big Meyer lemons, or you can do the small Sicilian lemons. This is not necessarily super realistic. It's just a pattern to be influenced by. It doesn't necessarily have to look exactly like a lemon branch, but close to what it might look like. And so I'm just getting all my shapes in. You can see here, just finishing out this with the little branch. Right over here, finishing off with a little leaf color there. So you can see it's a pretty simple, straightforward design here. And now that we have it all laid out, if there was a line on here that I did not like, I wanted to change it, I can change it. Because now I'm just going to go over with the color. And you can see here on this one, I'm going to start with my lemons because they're the main feature here. And I want to make sure I get good coverage there, I get my shadow areas, and I have those how I want them before I go and then add leaves to them. I'll put this over to the side. I also brought just a few, they're not real, but a few lemons where you can see, kind of reference them to where the dark areas are. Lemons are bumpy, so it's not going to be a super smooth rendition. So just know that if you have something where you can have it out there and you can just reference it for, for where the shadows are and what color maybe the shadows, what colors you can use for the shadows. So again, we're not doing realistic, but it helps to have that as a reference if you want to. So I'm going to use my light, my brightest lemon color, and I will go around my lemon shape. I'll do one at a time, just like this, and I will outline all of them. But I'm going to take a moment, actually. I'm going to go ahead and do this now since I'm thinking about it. And this is just a sample lemon that I have here. And you see how this one is done, where I've got the bright yellow right there at the top, and I'm leaving a white spot there. And then I'm going to go in with a different color, with a shadow color, right in here to give it some shape. And then I'm going to go in with another color, which is again considered more of a shadow color, just to kind of, we just kind of map it in, just kind of lay it in, just like that. Now what you'll be working with the soft pastels is you'll have to just tap them off to the side because you'll get a lot of dust. And then see that inside part where I'm just going to go in and add my white right in there. Now for this, I will be tapping a lot here, just so you know. And then, so once you have some colors laid out like this, I'll just show you. I use my fingers. I just use my fingers. They're my brushes or my tools. And then I will smooth it all out. And then you can kind of see how things are blending. Okay. And then, so just a quick study on how we've gotten a rounder shape to our lemon. Now this one up here, you can leave it with this case, because on the white paper, I just left it with the white showing through. But even the same thing, it's just going to have a little bit of an indication of highlight. So feel free to kind of like, I just say tap your page on a regular basis, your paper on a regular basis. There's a tendency you just want to blow it, but it will go everywhere. So if at all possible, just do some tapping to get rid of it along the way. So I have my outline of my first lemon, and I'm just going to do those same steps that I just did there. So I'm going to go in and give myself some good lemon color right in here. And I'm going around my leaf shape right in here. I'm not worried too much about my stem because I can go right on top of that with my color. But I want to make sure I get a good, solid covering. And again, I'm going to be blending, so I'm not worried too much about exactly what it looks like coverage-wise. And now I'm going in with the shadow area. You can use, you can experiment with different colors for your shadow area. If this is too warm for you, you can go cooler. And don't worry about making it too dark or too shadowy, because you can always go back and make it a little bit darker if you need to. But maybe just more of a neutral brown in there. And you can go back and forth, getting in some more of that lemon yellow. I've seen them done where they, you know, they don't have to be this bright yellow. They can be another color palette if you want. And now I'm going to add in my white, just right on top. And still consider this my rough sketch, okay? So because I haven't blended anything and I don't know exactly where I need different colors, but I just roughed that one in. And now I'm going to go to the next one. I'm going to rough it in, the same thing. This way I'm not over-committing to you know, any of my color palettes right now. I'm just getting it all roughed in. And you can see that things get pretty fuzzy pretty fast. And when you're working with something like this, you'll also pay attention to where your lightest area hits either a shadow area. You want to make sure that you're distinguishing between different objects. And sometimes you'll have to go lighter when you really think it is the shadow area, but you want it to separate from what's behind it or in front of it. I'll just go in. Since I'm using this color on the other one, I'll use it on this one. Just to kind of pull that in, just like that. And I go in, get some of that darker, more neutral right in there. Comes around the edge of that leaf, just like that. Okay, then I'm going to put in this more of an orange in here. I'm going to hit this with the lightest of the lights right in there. And now that I have that, I realize that I can go back and darken that edge. I still haven't done any blending, just laying down the color. Okay, got one more lemon to do, and then we'll go back and do some blending and making other color choices. Just go all the way around it. In this case, this leaf is over it, so I'm going to be lighter on this side. And our shadow area is going to be over here. Still give it a good edge. Just tap it away. And get that darker in there. Make sure I have a shadow. As far as what sets to use for our projects, you really, again, I think I say this every time, just experiment. You don't have to get the most expensive set. You just want to make sure that's something that you like, depending on what surface you want to, what paper or surface you want to use, and then experiment. But don't spend a lot of money on it until you know what you like. I'm using construction paper just because I think it does the job, but of course there are, very, very nice papers out there for pastels that you can invest in. As you can see, it looks like a hot mess, which is like my signature start on just about everything, is the hot mess look, especially with anything with this pastels. It is a messy, messy material here. All right. So now that I have my lemons kind of, it's basically roughed in is what I call it, I'm going to clean my hands real quick because I'm going to start some blending, but I want to make sure I'm not putting other colors on there that I don't want on there. And then when I clean my hands, I'm also going to dry them really well, because if you have damp hands or any water on this, it's going to get, it's going to be a mess. It's going to make everything really muddy. So now I'm going to go in from lighter to darker, and with a very light touch, I'm just going to blend my colors. If you start in the darker area and go light, you'll mess up your light colors. So and you're going to add lots of layers on this, so don't be concerned if it's not exactly the color combination that you were hoping for. You can go on top of it and add more or add different. And as you blend, just think of it in terms of it's an observation. I'm going to add that stem in later, so I'm not worried about it now. Now your edges are going to be really fuzzy, so don't worry about that yet. And you might find that you're going to need a whole lot more yellow or a whole lot more of another color. So let's just go back. I wiped off my hands again, and then I'm going and just blending these colors on here. You don't want to blend too hard because you don't want to grind it into your paper, because you might not like the look of that. At a certain point. Okay, so I've got one more to do, and then we'll go back and look at where we need light, dark, different. Okay, I did some mid colors in there, so on all of these. So this is also where I might be putting down more mid colors to blend the shadow area. Go back and forth. Okay, so we'll go back and add some more of our lightest lemon. Make sure we have plenty of that color and that we have something to blend with. Also don't want much of we don't want like a line there. I want to kind of make sure it's a transition. Right in there. Okay. You can touch up those a little bit because we'll come back to them. We'll move on to our leaves so we can go back and forth, okay? Let's see. All right. So for our leaves, we're going to just use a couple of colors. I go back and forth between a dark or a medium green and a light green. And then I blend the two together. You can do it as, if you find another color combination that you like, that's good too. So just connecting it and adding a little bit of that in there, give it a nice point. And then I'm going to go in with my lighter green right next to that. And then we'll be blending those here in just a second. All right, it's the same here. So paying attention to where it hits my lemon shape. And this is a nice big leaf, so it's going to be darker there. Then I'm going to go in and add some of the light. And I'll show you what we're going to do here, because it looks like it's striped, but it's not. So when I go blend those, just like that, just kind of have some variance. And then I can go add a highlight to those, or make it lighter if I need to make it lighter. Like right in here. Can always do that. And blend it later. Okay, so then we're gonna do the rest of our leaves to get some good color in there. And then we're gonna start on, I'm gonna show you what the background looks like. And you can use any color you want. I just recommend that you use a color that is going to give you some contrast, some pop. You can actually go super, super dark, or you can go pretty light. Okay, a few more leaves here. Okay, so I would consider those basically still roughed in. So we'll go work on those a little bit more detail. But at this point, you could say I probably will end up going in and adding some dark areas and some light areas, especially to all the things. But you can see as an example, what I'll do is I end up making a little bit of an outline. As we go. So I'm going to rough in a color for our background. And I'll use the same color as it is on our example. Just keep things simple. So as you go, now that you have all this color in here, turn your paper as you move around, because you don't want to lay your hand over what you've just done. So just move it around. Like I said, I am going to add those stems, so I'm not too worried about exactly what they look like, because I'm going to go right over. And as you can see here, I'm making a nice, sharp, clean sweep around the leaf and around the lemon to regain my shape of my lemon and my leaves. As you can see here, that if I can go in and I can go back and forth, getting an edge. and getting more white in there if needed. And you can see what a difference that background makes. It's tough to get in these tiny little areas, so take your time. And don't worry about your stems, your branches. Just take that time to go around, because that's going to give you your shape back. I turn the chalk so that I can get an edge. And I usually go all the way around before I start filling in. Get a good spot. Keep turning the page. And you don't have to use this blue. You can use another color. But as I said earlier, just want to make sure you have contrast and it's complementary. And you could go 100% black if you wanted to. If you wanted that kind of drama. And it's worked. Shake it off. Move it around. Once I get this in there, we'll do our stems, and then we'll take a look and see what we have here. I don't worry too much about it until I get to that point. Covering up that stem. I know where it is. And whatever you do, don't keep your hand high over your work. Don't rest your elbow on it or your palm. You'll smudge everything. Keep finding that edge to your chalk as you go around your main items, your leaves and your lemons. You're needing that to reclaim your shape. You can see as I'm tapping the paper and putting my hands on it that getting all sorts of smudges on it. So one thing you can do is you can actually take a little bit of wax paper and lay it over your work so as you don't accidentally do that. Wax paper is good for lots of things. I'm trying to get right in here between these leaves. Kind of a tough area to get to. And some people like to have a background that isn't like fully blended. They like to have the tooth or texture from the paper underneath. It's totally fine. And also, some people like to just add a couple of different colors in here, particularly around the edges. So if you wanted to, you could go in and add a little white around the edge to make it lighter around the edge. And then if you do that, you probably do want to blend a little bit. So we go in, I'm going to wash my hands real quick. Don't want to contaminate all my other colors. And then I'm just going to lightly blend those in, just like that. And pull it out to the edge, just like that. Now we're going to go in real quick and I'm going to add our stems. Just like that. Our stem to our lemon. And also this one. And this one. We also have this one that goes out to our leaves, just like that. So you can stop here if you want. You can continue to work on it back and forth to add, maybe you want some more delineation in here. You want to add a little sharpness to it. You can go in and do all those things. So that's what we have. So this is our final piece. You can see I went in and did a little bit more outlining. You don't have to do that. I like a little bit of a linear finish to mine. And you can choose any colors you want for your background and for your leaves too. You can certainly change a slightly different green color palette for those as well. All right, and there we have it. There is our pastel lemon design. All right. Let me know if you have any questions or any comments. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.